All right, so I'm here with Bowe from Dollie, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about Dollie, his background, and why we've partnered with Atarim. To kick things off, I would love to start with a bit of an introduction into your background, how you got into starting Dollie as a company, and also what you do with Dollie today.
Hey, Alex, nice to be here. And yeah, let's dive into how this whole idea started. I have been in WordPress for 15 plus years and always did agency work, a bit of product creation on the side, but real passion for building websites with clients. And at some point, I would say 7 years ago, I really noticed there was a big change in the industry where turnkey websites, delivering a production ready website to your client and making it easier to edit for them, the rise of page builders, Elementor at that time. And I felt as an agency, I was struggling to automate and to create a turnkey solution for my team and for myself, like selling hosting and sidecar plans and streamlining the process of building a website for clients and then delivering value to them. All that was like brought from different places. So you use a managed WordPress host, you use something for your CRM, you have an internal collaboration tool for your team. Everything was disjointed. And with Dolly, I felt the technology to do high performance enterprise grade hosting and a suite of solution to basically allow you as an agency to white label that. So it feels everything is coming from your agency to your clients. That was the goal. And that has been iterated for the last 5, 6 years. And we're doing that with an entire team. So I'm located in Berlin. And then the rest of my team is spread across Europe. So we have 2 people in Greece, 2 people in Romania, 2 people in the United Kingdom. And yeah, we've been passionately building this platform. And once we get into the rest of the conversation, I will highlight some of those things that we've built. But yeah, that was the motivation. Like, I guess it's very similar to as what Atarim did. You notice a need and you think, let's build it and let's make it for ourselves. And then it turns out to be useful for others. So that was the whole inspiration for Dolly.
Awesome. I love to hear it. And I was about to say that makes the partnership sound all the more natural because it's very similar to our founder, Vito, also starting from an internal pain that they had at their agency and basically wanting to make it easier for them to deliver great work. And I also published a tweet lately where I was saying, if you don't build a product that actually solves a pain that you had, I think it's very difficult to build a good product. And I think every successful company that you look at, you find that there's a pattern, which is that the founders are actually solving problems that they themselves had, not just picking a market opportunity from a list. Awesome.
Absolutely.
So to paint a clearer picture, I know we don't want to necessarily name competitors, but just to paint a bit of a clearer picture of how exactly your users find you and how they convert, what is it that they're normally looking for in terms of problems to solve? And do you consider Dolly as an alternative to other, let's say, managed hosting providers, or how do you view the platform?
It's a very good question. And it's also something that we've been struggling with the first couple of years because it felt like what we've built with Dolly, like a growth platform, it's a mix and match of existing solutions that a lot of agencies have used. So a good example is something like Managed WP, which everyone knows at this point, but it hasn't really been maintained or updated. It's just there. And we thought, okay, what would a next generation control panel look like for managing WordPress sites in bulk? So that is one component. But then the hosting, which is the white label hosting, that is usually associated with reselling. You sign up for a host and then you can get a small cut and then the host gets the bulk of the revenue. All those things, they are part of our growth platform, but we have a completely different approach where we flip it, where we say, hey, you take the bulk of the revenue. We just provide you with the tools and the dashboard behind the scenes to build this out. So that is interesting. And that was also something that we still struggle with today, because the first question is, all right, am I exactly going to get everything that's listed on the website? Where's the catch? Like, how can I sell a website for $50 a month to a client and I can take home 40? Like, what's the deal here? And then we say, no, we feel that if you want to be successful as an agency and you want to have all these tools in one location, for us, the revenue and the value comes from you being successful. So we don't want to take from you. We want to work with you. And that is a disruptive model that I think makes it a bit harder to compare Dolly to a host. It's not a hosting solution. It's part of our feature set to let you sell hosting. So the infrastructure and technology and the user interface is there, but we're not technically here to take as much money as we can from you to be able to offer hosting to your clients. So it's a funny thing. And we're seeing now that people are starting to get this because, thank God for us, that agencies are also changing. They're focusing on recurring revenue, sidecar plans, using Atarim to do collaboration and small tasks. And Dollie fits in there perfectly. And we basically do all the things that Atarim doesn't do, which is centralized client management, centralized site management, white label hosting, AI assistance, all of that in one dashboard. And yeah, like I think if you look at something that the bigger hosting companies do, like Flywheel has their, what's it called? Agency suite.
Mm-hmm.
What's it? I forgot the name for a second. Then Growth Suite, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Flywheel Growth Suite. GoDaddy has GoDaddy Pro. You have great platforms like InstaWP, which allow you to launch sites very quickly and automate that. All of those things, they are in our platform, but they are very streamlined to get you to a point of building more recurring revenue. That's why we call ourselves a growth platform. So that's a little bit of a summary of what you compare Dollie to.
I think that's a fantastic way to introduce it, and I agree. I think the thing that I've also seen with taking a close look at the agency space and just WordPress in general is the sort of like traditional reseller hosting, and not to call it traditional in a sense of like talking down on it, but it's a huge missed opportunity for freelancers and agencies to just refer clients onwards to a managed hosting provider, not take any sort of involvement in the hosting, because it plays such a big role in the website itself. It is the clearest path to recurring revenue, and it is also where the most revenue is, especially if you have a way to do it with a partner like Dollie, for example, where the level of involvement isn't quite what you would need if you're completely managing your own infrastructure or dealing with shared hosting with cPanel-based systems, which kind of makes everything, I would say, more complicated for both the client and for you, which ultimately want as much of a hands-off experience as possible. To segue onto the Atarim integration and partnership, what was your first introduction to Atarim, if you can recall when you first heard of Atarim?
It's a long time ago. It was not even called Atarim. I know I had a good relationship with Vito just through meeting him at WordCamps, and I think it was WP Feedback at that time. That was the first iteration of the product. And every time I saw him, he was building and rebranding and just having an incredible sense of what actual WordPress agencies need to just do better. And that's how we bonded, because we're both very passionate. Like, we're both outgoing. So we'd just be drinking a beer, saying, hey, this is what we're doing. What are you doing? And over time took off, right? So I always looked up at how the business is set up, the solutions that were built by your team, but also how you communicated with your audience and how you build a brand for yourself. So that was something that for me was always a learning moment. So I speak to Vito, hey, what can you tell us about what we're doing with Dollie? Like, how can we do better as a product? Because it's not in this day and age, even when you're building an agency, it's the competition and being found and being seen. When you're building a product like ours, it's not per se that our product wouldn't meet the goals that we set for ourselves or that we didn't get any fantastic feedback or growth. It was just learning how to really take it to the next level. And that is where I really bonded with Vito and also with Jerome and the rest of the Atarim over time. So it was mostly personal, just getting along. And then over time, the more we spoke together, we saw more alignment, and we felt like, okay, we need to take this a bit further and build an actual integration. So that is the origin story.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always, whenever I hear the name WP Feedback brought back up, it takes me back in time, because I remember that's also when I came across Vito and when we started working together, which was basically when they were a very small team, and now they've grown to a much bigger team. So it's a huge flashback for me of where it all started.
Yeah, it's a good rebrand as well, because you've decoupled yourself from WordPress and you've made yourself a solution that could be applied to other markets. So that's from a product and from a marketing perspective. We did the same with Dollie immediately. It was like, hey, we want to be focused on WordPress, but it shouldn't be tied to the name. It was something I did from the beginning. I was like, I want my own name out of pride. I don't want to be WP something. I just want to be Dollie. That's it.
Yeah, makes total sense. What are some long-term plans that you can share for Dollie that you're particularly excited about?
Where do I start? I think we've really ramped up the product as itself. We found our voice and we found our very clear use case. And that is all tied into thinking of the agency or our customers first. And that sounds like a standard thing. Oh, that's what all companies do. But we've really identified key issues. And that is not just the hosting stuff. It's more like productivity, day-to-day operation stuff. And our goal is very simple. We're just going to build the absolute best platform to just start solving these ongoing issues that agencies come with us time and time again. So we've covered the hosting and the white label and like the increasing the revenue through hosting. But another thing, a small example, site reports. Every single agency that does work for clients need to report back to the client, hey, this is why you're paying us, right? This is the value we've provided. And everyone now at this point sends out a PDF, sends out like an email, and that's it, right? It has been stagnant. And then there's a nicer PDF with a logo, and oh, this PDF has colors. But if you look at how the industry is changing and the personalization of providing real value, that PDF is great for records, and some markets or clients might want to have that PDF in their Dropbox until the end of time. But we're like, okay, we have AI, which is the buzzword or the hype these days, but these AI solutions are getting fantastic. So what we're doing with Dollie now is we're tying everything that happens inside your entire operations, your websites, your clients, updates of plugins and themes into generative AI models. So we can say, hey, Alex has one website with you. Let's create a site report, but it will be a written email with all of the updates, with the tone that you want, in the language that you want, and you can send it out through one click. That is one kind of innovation we're seeing. But also, for example, taking all the activity from all of your sites and summarizing it to your team and say, hey, team Atarim, this week you have 50 websites in your portfolio, and 6 of them have a security issue that you need to look into. It's a moderate security issue, so you might want to do it as soon as possible, but it's not critical. Your team member, Alex, has done 5 tasks in Atarim. Here's what he's done. There's 12 clients that you've added, and 3 of them have told you that they're unhappy with the performance. So we've run a lighthouse scan, and this is what you need to do to improve it. So think of it as a true hub for your agency that will just only expand, whether it's through AI or just time-saving features. And that is our core focus. And that is about as general, but also slightly specific I can get. And we want to innovate very quickly. So we're a relatively young company. We're not tied to a specific hosting company. You can manage all your sites from anywhere through Dollie. So we just want to listen to feedback of our partners and solve real issues. And that is all we're going to be doing this year. And that also means partnerships with companies like yours and just helping you get more work done as an agency. That's the vision.
Awesome. I love to hear it. And I was about to say, yeah, I feel like when it comes to the work done, hopefully our API, once you're putting together those automated reports, will make it super easy to fetch what tasks have been completed between a certain date for a specific site. So that can be included as an extension of what the integration currently does. But yes, I think on the terms of alignment of vision for Atarim and Dollie, it makes total sense, the partnership at this stage, because I think you can't possibly, and no individual software company can possibly handle every possible use case. And as you said, Dollie is not necessarily tied to one specific hosting company, but it solves problems on the hosting layer, whereas Atarim focus more on the task and sort of project management, design collaboration layer. And together, you can provide, ultimately, like you said, we have to focus on putting the user first, which is what do they actually want? And if we have a significant overlap of Dollie and Atarim users, which there should be, because I think as we can agree, agencies that use Atarim should also look at Dollie and agencies that use Dollie should also look at Atarim, then how can we make our solutions together even more useful for them?
For sure. And I'm wondering, having shared my vision, what do you see is next on the agenda for Atarim? Is there overlap, or is there any specific things you want to share with me about like your upcoming year, 2/3 of the year?
So we've spent the majority of the first quarter of this year already. And also we have a launch coming around the corner with version 4 that we've started rolling out slowly. So that's what we're currently most excited about, is a significant revamp across the board to the dashboard, achieving SOC 2 Type 1 compliance, 2-factor authentication, tons of other improvements that are fundamental for the next stage of where we're going as a company, is laying the foundation for a platform that's secure, stable, and ready to scale to millions of users, essentially. And also that over time, as we add additional functionality and explore the different directions that we can go, how can we make reporting even better as well for just users that are just using Atarim? Are there things that we do on this front? If we're building on top of this now solid foundation of what version 4 is introducing, and again, also making the user experience top of mind, which is, as an early stage software company, something you don't really have the luxury to focus on. You're very much focusing on what is the problem, how to solve the said problem as quickly as possible. So the details can be lost and caught up in that oftentimes. And I think version 4 has been very much a reset for our entire product and engineering teams and design team as well, to revisit where we've come as a company over the last 4 or 5 years now, to realign, make sure that where we're going for the next 4 or 5 years is exactly where we want to be and not built on top of the foundation that we've accumulated as a very fast moving startup.
Yeah, that's a key thing. And we've also been through the 5-year cycle. And at the end of the 5th year, we realized like everything we're doing now doesn't matter anymore until we fix the foundational UI, UX issues that we know are there, but we've ignored for too long. And that should also, and I was speaking to Jerome, your co-founder, and he was also like, it becomes more taxing for the team to work on something where you know it can be better and you know what you need to improve, but you're always chasing the next feature. And it's good to reassess and refocus your core mission in your team and start from a new UI, UX, like what you're doing with the Chrome extension and the dashboard updates, because that also re-energizes your entire team. And that's the same going back to our customers, the agencies. They also have an opportunity to take a new direction with their agency and say, hey, let's look into tools like Atarim and Dollie and look at our entire process and deliver more value to our customers and make more money. And that is something that can be scary, but if you take that initiative, those are the agencies that are most successful, that are willing to innovate and say, hey, we've done stuff like this for X amount of years. How can we do it better? And there's fantastic products, and not just ours. There's a lot of innovation in the WordPress space. So this is a good time to seriously investigate what's out there and grow your business. So it's an interesting time at the moment.
100%. And we were talking before we started recording a little bit about the state of the agency landscape. I think B2B software in general, where it's all going and the economic situation. But broadly speaking, on an agency standpoint, the ones that are successful are, as you said, the ones that just take action. So they see an opportunity to improve their process, improve their workflow, or do work for a client. And they don't see it as, oh no, this is just more work to take on. They find a way to define what its value is to the end client and charge what they should charge for it at the end of the day. And as you said, also, I do want to add, yes, the Chrome extension is a very big focus for version 4 onwards, as a part of making the experience with Atarim more reliable and enjoyable to use. So we started as WP Feedback as a WordPress plugin. Then we went to the one-click URL-based collaboration. We still have both of those options. So I know that's caused a bit of confusion among our community. We're still maintaining both of those solutions as well. But the Chrome extension is an additional layer which lets us handle logged in experiences, such as the Dollie team, as you're having your designers go through UI doing QA so that they can actually leave feedback directly in Chrome as opposed to installing something or using the one-click URL-based solution, which obviously wouldn't let you log into the platform through that. So yes, that's a big focus.
Yeah. It's for me, when I saw the extension, it started to click more because the most important thing for leaving feedback, in my opinion, is like one-click access. And that is what the Chrome extension delivers. And then when I was building the integration with my team for Atarim, I started testing and I was like, oh, this is actually super handy. But then the Chrome extension came out. I was like, okay, now I can actually see myself using this every day because it's there all the time. And I don't have to think. And my team, you might be surprised, but I have people in my team who are like actual back-end engineers, cloud infrastructure stuff. They're not UI, UX guys. They get lost in apps. So if they can install the Chrome extension and they click on something that they find whilst they're testing our product, they can do that. So the barrier to entry for your entire team is lowered like massively. So I feel that this is a fantastic direction for your team to take. And I see this to really provide a lot of benefits. And for us, that's exciting because we integrate with you. So it's
a win-win for everybody.
It's a very impressive product.
Awesome. I love to hear that. And yes, I would agree. We also, just to share as a bit of a side note, we've started dogfooding the product much more since we have the Chrome extension than we were originally because we have a wider application of it as well. And the last thing, which I think ties it all together back to the integration, is if you as a WordPress agency use the Chrome extension internally, because it's a faster experience, it's one-click accessible directly in Chrome, you can still then share a one-click URL collaboration link with a client that doesn't have the extension installed, and they'll still be able to collaborate with you. They'll still see all the tasks that you created with the Chrome extension. So the experiences are all connected. It doesn't result in, oh, this project was created via the Chrome extension and this one was created via the WordPress plugin. That's exactly what we wanted to avoid.
I love that. I also hope that in the future you would have some sort of simple desktop app where you just have Atarim open. Like even if it's just a wrapper, like you just open up the Atarim app, you have it running in your taskbar, Windows or Mac, something like that. Like the easier you get to people to have that like collaboration suite, the better. So I'm excited to see how it will go for you, for your team this year.
Awesome. And likewise, we're super excited to see where Dollie is headed. And thank you for taking the time to talk with me a bit more about the partnership, a bit more about Dollie and what it is that we're both doing, the direction that both of Atarim and Dollie are headed in. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, Alex. And that was great. See you around.
See you.